Hey y'all, it's Tom from the show. I just wanted to give a big thank you for checking out the podcast first episode. If you like what you hear, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at MudPitPod. That's MUDPITPOD. And thanks again for checking us out. I hope you enjoy the first episode. Catch you later.
What up, everybody? Welcome to the Mud Pit.
This is the Mud Pit
The Mud Pit.
Podcast.
Episode one.
So this is episode 1.
Yeah, this is
Definitely
episode one.
episode
This is
one.
the beginning of something big.
Beginning of so we're fucking selling out.
Gonna shoot the shit for a few an hour or so and see what
Who knows?
happens.
Yeah, a couple of cold ones, couple of good boys. We
Yeah.
come
Couple
out here
little
kicking
kings.
it up in the
I
space.
Let's
got my
Cincinnati
tank.
staple.
I filled up my
Wow.
tank at the
Middle
local
Kings.
Arby's and we're ready to go.
Filled up the tank at the Arby's.
At the local Arby's, man.
How come you never? That's one thing I've never seen Arby's as like a gas station restaurant before.
Beef
I
and
feel
cheddar.
like
I
Honestly,
have.
Really?
Yeah, I
I
have.
can't
I
think
have
of, like-
before too.
They're
It's
usually tacked onto like TAs.
honestly,
and shit like
honestly, all over Kansas when we went to Colorado. All over Kansas, they were at like it felt like of every other like truck stop. There was an Arby's or like a.
They must have
McDonald's.
started in
always
Kansas or
yeah.
something because like it's definitely there. It's
Yeah.
like kind of like
Yeah, it's good. It's good road trip food. It just gives me diarrhea sometimes.
I don't know. Well,
most times.
I don't. How can it be good road trip food if it gives you
Don't be stopping
diarrhea?
and shit.
Because
Right.
it
That's
gives
like
me
a
diarrhea.
That's like ground for it to be terrible road trip.
I would love to take a road trip with people who get diarrhea because
That's what I'm saying.
You get a chance to get out of the car. You can stop at a
Explore
gas
You
the
actually
station.
you
Hold
get
up,
to
what if
stop
you-
frequently.
You do a
Exactly.
competition. What you do? Everyone has to down like a full thing of Miralax, and you have to
no.
take off.
No.
And
See
whoever
how far
has
you
to
can-
get out of the car first
You eat
loses.
3 beef and cheddars and then down the Miralax. And the only place you could stop after that is Taco Bell.
Yeah,
Go cross,
good-
you go cross country.
Good call. Good
Dude, Taco
call.
Bell won't hit me. It's White Castle that'll
White
be doing
Castle
it.
Castle
will
is-
be cleansing
is-
you.
There's
is
a reason
definite-
they call them sliders.
Yeah,
yeah.
because they slide out of my ass.
You
So
need to clear a room though. Next day you're good to go.
Oh yeah,
you're clean.
absolutely.
Dude, your farts be stinking.
Rang.
You ever wonder what onions smell like?
It's like, bro.
It's just-
It's
You ever wonder what digested onions smell like?
it's almost radioactive.
It's almost the exact same, honestly.
Yeah,
That's vile.
it smells like rotten eggs and onions.
So this is the Mud Pit, everyone. This is episode 1. Today's subject we're covering
Trailer Park Boys.
Trailer Park
Trailer
Boys.
Park Boys. Yeah.
It's definitely my favorite show. It's been my favorite show for a very long time.
Would you call it your favorite show of all time?
All time, yes.
All time.
Top
Bold.
favorite show.
I don't know if I'd say
I don't-
that,
yeah, I
but
don't know if I'm gonna
it's
say
definitely
all
one of
time.
the. It's probably one of the greatest shows of like the 2000s
Yeah.
coming up till now. It's
Absolutely.
become
I th-
something crazy. you
Out
know?
of all of the mockumentary like TV shows,
yeah.
I think it takes the cake.
even over like The Office.
The
Yes.
Office, I think well, here's the thing. Trailer Park Boys came out before The Office, correct?
Yes, I
They
want
were
to say
out
so.
like
yeah.
early
We'll do,
2000s.
we'll do a little fact checking on that and get back
Yeah,
to y'all.
I'm pretty
but
sure Trailer Park
yeah.
Boys is the originator of, or at least the first real.
Park Boys, the original short came out in like '98, and
Yeah.
the series took off in 2001.
Yeah, and
The
I don't
showcase.
think
So-
Office came out till what?
2000, like
03?
It
4 or
definitely, I
5.
think it was after 40-Year-Old Virgin because
Yeah.
that was when Steve Carell was on a.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know if it
On
was
the up and
before or
up?
after.
Nah, yeah, Trailer Park. I don't know if I'd
Office
give it
went
my
for a while.
all time. How it's made. is
Office was 2005, so they had a whole
Yeah.
4 years over. They had a whole 4 years
Okay.
over Trailer Park.
I mean,
So-
you have like the mockumentary movies, like like Spinal Tap and stuff.
yeah.
There's a ton of mockumentaries.
Well, the first mockumentary like television show,
Yeah,
I guess
yeah,
is the
yeah.
best way to put it.
I don't know if it's the first mockumentary.
First, really, the one that really kind of broke through
It
and
didn't
took
even.
the.
I don't even think it broke through
Trailer
until
Park Boys
like,
didn't
until
break
it
through.
went on Netflix.
Yeah.
Did
I'm
they
not
ha-
sure.
they
Like,
had maybe,
obviously,
They
Well,
did
we'll-
two seasons
we'll-
on
traction to get at
We'll
least
go back
7
to-
original seasons.
We'll go back to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But first, what are y'all bumping this week?
Oh, we're talking
yeah.
about music.
Our
here.
Yeah.
music bump this week.
We're
All
gonna-
right,
we're
first,
gonna-
real quick, let us all get a little introduction as to who's behind the voice. Share a simple fact about yourself, and then who you've been bumping this week. So start it off with you can go first here, unnamed fellow.
Okay, unnamed fellow. Hi, my name's unnamed fellow number 1. No, I'm Sam. I'm just a dude.
Just a dude.
I'm just a dude hanging out,
Yeah.
bro.
We're just excited to really do this podcast. We try to we tried to start a podcast back in high school. That didn't really go to that didn't really happen. So we're
I thought it went great.
we're gonna
I never heard of it.
we got a better grasp on it this time. So we're gonna hopefully keep it going with that.
Hopefully sell out to Spotify for
Give us
$100 million.
Give us an interesting detail about yourself, there, Sam.
I have 52 copies of Mrs. Doubtfire on VHS. 52 copies. Now, I can't explain. Well, it's a story in itself on why, and that could come back later. But it just happened, and it got a little bit out of control, and it's in control now. I'm gonna start doing some weird art shit with them.
When's the last time you bought a copy of Mrs. Doubtfire?
I bought a copy maybe a month ago.
Okay.
Someone else. I have people who buy me copies.
Oh, wow.
Shout out to Aaron
yeah.
Crick.
Here's a question: how many copies have you bought in one single setting? Like, what's been like
Four.
Where did you find four?
I've walked into
in
one half-price books, the one up in Kenwood,
Okay.
and they had an outdoor VHS section and an indoor VHS section.
Interesting.
Two apiece.
Two apiece.
And I had to walk up to the counter and buy 4 copies of Mrs. Doubtfire
What
on
did they
VHS.
think of you?
Yeah.
The guy was just like, "You a big fan of the movie, huh?"
So you a big Doubtfire
Well,
guy?
I would keep going in there though, and I would buy the VHS copies, and I'd get the same guy. And so I had like maybe the third time, he was like, "So, what do you do with these?" And I'm like, "I collect them."
He's like, oh god,
Yeah,
it's
what-
that
what
guy
a-
again.
It's just fucking Mrs. Doubtfire again. Just
Someone's got to do it. I'm going to own every single copy in the tri-state area.
In the tri-state.
Well, the problem is I can't even find them anymore.
He's run the area.
He's
dry.
I've let it dry. I
He's
own the
bled
market.
them dry.
I can't imagine there would only be 50. How many do you have? 54?
52.
52. I
There
can't
can't be.
imagine
In the
there would be
tri-state
52.
area,
It's
It's
got
in
to
the
be at
tri-state.
least like 10,000.
You got to start hitting them
I
garage
would
sales,
say-
man. If you're going to be dedicated to this cause, you better.
The problem is there ain't been garage sales because Corona. So like,
true that.
and I've been willing to make the jump, but like, I go to thrift stores and I find them. I've bought in like 4 at a thrift store before.
Yeah.
So the most I've ever bought in one sitting is 4.
Okay.
But like thrift stores, they bag them up in like bags of 3. So I got to buy all 3 VHSs, and I just go outside, pull the Doubtfires, and throw the rest away before even going to my car. So I've thrown away so many copies of
bet.
Forrest Gump on VHS.
That's sad, bro.
they try to pair it with like, ooh, what would this be like? I don't know why they're like, oh, let's pair Mrs. Doubtfire with Forrest Gump, but
And they just throw it together because it's it's 90s movies.
like
They think that
90s
fits,
feel
but-
good movies, I guess. I don't know. As for when I'm bumping this week, I made a playlist y'all can look up on Spotify. It's called Roll Credits. It's all the closing songs to the majority of my favorite movies.
Heck yeah, that's cool.
So essentially, if it's in the credits or if it plays the last 5 minutes and rolls into the credits, I put it on the playlist. Got some Huey Lewis on there.
Okay.
There's like 4 Huey Lewis songs. He's a popular guy.
I was
Got
gonna
some
say,
Simon and
especially-
Garfunkel.
Oh,
Fucking
boy.
Black Sabbath. It's got some good stuff. It's got some. There's not many. There's 2 orchestrations because I got some Tarantino stuff on there, and then I got I got the closing song from There Will Be Blood.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah. So there's some good stuff. I highly recommend checking it out.
Heck yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm gonna
I will
toss it over
drink
to-
your milkshake.
I drink
your
milkshake.
I drink it up.
All right.
Ryan?
What up?
Or, unnamed
You know,
fellow number 2, I'm sorry.
Unnamed
Fellow
fellow
number
number 2. Name's Ryan here. I'm just not be doing much, just be kicking it in Cincinnati. Just fucking not much, really. What I'm bumping, just a lot of house music, really. I've been trying to build up my DJ playlist and shit, because, just pick that up.
Hell yeah.
I don't
Hell
really
yeah.
care necessarily for the artist. It's just mainly the vibe.
There you
It's all
go.
about the vibes.
We
Yeah,
care
the
about
good vibe
vibes.
tribe.
This room, vibes.
Vibes.
We're
We-
in
you know
we're
what
in
should
a
come to our hometown? Vibes.
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 yeah we're recording
Absolutely.
this in an old abandoned baseball factory in downtown Cincinnati.
West
Yeah.
End, baby.
West
West End,
Bad.
and it is.
Practice space.
It's the first time me and unnamed man number 3 are here, so it's
And
it's
two,
pretty
I
nice.
believe.
No,
Well, Ryan.
no, I've been here.
Ryan,
he's been here.
Ryan has been
Okay.
here a few
OG.
times.
So,
Yeah.
alrighty, y'all.
Unnamed fellow 3.
I'm unnamed fellow number 3, aka Justin. I don't live in Cincinnati. I'm from Cincinnati. I actually live in Louisville, Kentucky. I hate it there. The Town sucks. The only redeeming quality about it is that the bar last call is at 4 a.m. instead of 2.
They just changed that here.
Ohio's
Okay,
like that.
Really? It's here
then
now?
I
We
guess
also
I have to move
now
back
have
now.
to go like
go
alcoholic
cocktails
beverages
permanently. Yeah.
are here
Oh,
to stay
are you for real?
for
Yep.
sure.
That is dangerous.
That's what. See,
Right.
this is
Next
what
thing
we
you
Ohio's
know-
about to have so many DUIs,
What I'm
dude.
saying.
I
Absolutely.
guarantee they probably just did that so that police would have more people to pull over.
Exactly. They knew.
It's that revenue, baby.
See, they're working
another
in
revenue
cahoots.
stream.
The police are working in cahoots with the people who are doing the cocktails, and they're like, "All right, go follow them."
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
wait outside the Mexican restaurants. That guy already just ordered 3 margs. Better trail him, boy.
The next thing you know, they're gonna fucking start open liquor. It's gonna be legal. Just
Oh man,
next
walking
thing,
down
it's gonna be like New
Coleraine.
Orleans. You're gonna see walking
That-
down Coleraine Avenue, homeless people with about 40 in their hands.
That's
Colin
how
Avenue
scary,
does
dude.
not need that. I can tell you that right now.
not
There's already people just walking in the middle of the road.
Like Night of the Living Dead, fucked up on heroin. All right, yeah. My name's Justin. I've been listening to a lot of Dr. John recently. A lot of Dr. John. Dr. John's Gumbo. Great shit. All right.
Just like it sounds like I can't lie to you, Dr. John just sounds like he's talking with throat cancer. Just oh, what a night. What a night. All right, and then I'm Tom here. I'm one of the ones who actually does pay for this space. So, thank you for coming into my home. I'm out
Thanks
here
for having us, Tom.
chit-chatting, running the audio, working on that. Some music I've been bumping this week. It's been a whole lot of Sturgill Simpson,
Oh,
There you
fuck
go.
yeah.
a whole lot of Missy Elliott. A mix of those two.
I finally listened to her first album.
It's fire,
Good.
dude.
Good.
Been got a playlist right now called Saviors of Camo. That's all about redeeming,
Oh,
genuinely good
We need to
country.
gentrify camo from the
Yes.
rednecks.
Honestly,
We need to. We need
Honestly.
to. What is it?
appropriate.
Appropriate. We need to
camo back
appropriate
from the
camo back.
rednecks.
I got my
Redneck.
camo cargo pants, and I'm
I
ready
won't
to
even,
rock
hold
and
up, I gotta
roll.
take that back. I'm not even gonna say appropriate it from the rednecks. Appropriate it from the races.
Okay.
You can be a redneck and be a good old,
Yeah, good old
boy.
boy.
Did you guys hear about? I don't even know how I heard about this. I think my fucking mom's boyfriend was talking about it.
Greg.
The Ku Klux Klan has taken back Hawaiian shirts.
What?
What?
Nah,
Yeah.
dude.
No,
No,
we
dude,
cannot
no,
let that
no,
happen.
I don't think that's
No.
possible.
Let me
but-
tell
They
you.
took
Let me
them
tell
back.
you.
When did they have them to begin
Don't
with?
even
That's
get me
the-
started
that's
on
the
this shit,
post.
bro.
That's the
Can you
post I
imagine
heard.
the KKK though? They imagine they got rid of the white robes and it was all Hawaiian print.
No.
That's the image of
pissed.
hate.
I literally just bought like 4 Hawaiian shirts from JCPenney's, and I got that. They just come out like, hey, you know this now?
I just had to get comfortable.
Ryan's just bumping all the mics.
I just had to get
Fucking it up.
comfortable, you know.
I got
Ryan, what were you gonna
comfy.
say?
Nah, it's okay. It's not relevant right now.
Okay.
So back to it, boys. Trailer Park Boys. When do you
Trailer
guys
Park
think you first? When do you guys first remember really
remember.
watching it?
The first night I saw it, I was at my sister's old apartment. She was out at the club, partying it up.
Partying it
I went over there just to stay with my nephew, who was like 2 at the time. My first nephew, he's 8 now. So it was probably like 2013, 2014. And I remember the first time I turned it on and I was like, what the fuck am I watching? Like it was almost a religious experience for me. And that night I watched the entire first 3 seasons, all in a row. And that's really when I fell in love with it. I think I told Ryan about it, and then
Yep.
Ryan told everybody else about it.
And,
And-
it spread it throughout the marching band,
Yeah.
really. Next thing you knew, Trailer Park Boys was like a
Yeah.
local hit.
Next
Yeah.
thing we knew, it was be 7 a.m. We'd be hanging out in front of the band room at our high school, just screaming fucking
Knock off with the guns!
$10
Fuck off with the guns! God damn it, boys! Knock it off with these fucking erections!
See, it's interesting because I remember you all being really good and you guys quoting it a lot back in the day. I'm probably the newest convert in because me and my girlfriend just finished it. We finished the entire series for the first time probably like less than 2 weeks ago.
I tried to get you back in that in high school after Ryan got me into it, and you got like about 4 seasons into it, and then you jumped ship.
Yep. Then I just crashed off. But then rewatching it, maybe it was just at the time I wasn't paying as much attention. But the second time watching it, I was like, oh my god, what have I
It's a
been missing?
masterpiece.
It's
And that's
it's
the
really
thing.
fun.
I feel like it does take a couple of rewatches to really understand the genius behind it.
True. That's very true. Because I think more than anything, what Trailer Park Boys has that really sets it apart is the most lovable characters you could possibly
Absolutely.
think
Oh,
of.
God.
And I
Yeah.
Think
I
about
pers-
each individual character
Yeah.
has such defining
Yeah.
characteristics.
And it's there's such just looking at the set and the props they use, there's such an attention to detail.
Absolutely.
Like I remember seeing Ray's wheelchair, and it has like from a prison. It has a prison stamp on the back, and there's the Confederate flag and the Canadian flag on the end.
I don't think it's a attention to detail. I think it's a lack of attention to
Oh, you
detail
think- okay.
that adds that trailer parky charm to it.
Well, there was a time when it was Leahy and Leahy and Randy, and they were driving their golf cart, and instead of siren lights, they just had a red and a blue clean tree thing hanging.
Stuff like that. It's what makes the show special for sure.
So, what can you tell me a little bit about Trailer Park Boys? You know, where did it come from? What did it start from?
Trailer Park Boys is a mockumentary style comedy which follows the misadventures of ex-cons from a local trailer park and their hijinks in and out of jail.
Nova Scotia in Canada.
Nova Scotia,
Canadian
Canada, to
show.
be specific.
Canadian.
Canada always seems
It's
to have
a-
a little bit, in my opinion, a little upper hand when it comes
yeah.
to television.
It's a Canadian specific show. Now, back in 1998, there was a short, and it was called One Last Shot. It was filmed in black and white, which is how they get the kind of gradiated.
Like a Kevin Smith vibe.
Well, yeah, but it's also cheaper. It was way cheaper to do it back then. But
Smith.
what One Last Shot was about, it was two friends. One plans on leaving their hometown, and the other wants to confess his undying love for him. Like he's like in love with them.
Yeah, I remember.
So,
hearing
and
about
the
that. Okay.
one leaving
never
being
seen
John
it.
Paul Tremblay,
Yeah.
who ended up being Julian, and the one who's in love with him being Rob Wells, who plays Ricky. Now, Rob Wells being nervous, they end up going to several bars and several places and getting fucking tanked, trying to get the courage to tell him that. And they end up going to jail.
Okay.
So that's really how that started. In that short, archetypes for both Ricky, Julian, and John Dunworth, who plays Leahy.
Mr. Leahy.
Who
show up in there.
I think
Rest in
more
peace,
than-
John
more
Dunworth.
than
Mr. Leahy.
Anyone, I think Mr. Leahy is probably the most memorable character.
Oh, most
I think
definitely.
the
Yes, he is.
really close second would be Ricky, maybe Bubbles, but I think Leahy takes the cake in character.
Well, now that you mentioned Bubbles, Bubbles actually came from a short in 1995 called Cart Boy.
95.
Directed by the
Cart
same
Boy.
guy.
Cartboy. I've
Yeah.
never heard about that.
Now, the guy who directed it, his name was, because the actor who plays, let me do a little bit of fact checking here real quick. But the actor who plays Mike Smith was not involved in the first short or Cart Boy.
Yeah.
It was the guy who directed both One Last Shot and Cart Boy was Mike Kaltenberg, and he went on to direct many episodes of Trailer Park Boys.
Clottenburg?
Yeah,
Clottenburg?
Clottenburg.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I've definitely seen that name before.
Yeah, he's written for like Black Jesus and stuff like that, like a lot of Adult Swim stuff. He was around from the beginning, but he originally played Cart Boy, I believe.
Interesting.
So that was back in '95, and that character existed. So when back in
Cut this out.
yeah, back in '99, they did a short called Trailer Park Boys.
I thought
which
it was a short. What?
No, they
Let
did-
me ask you. What is there a difference between a short and a feature film?
Yes.
What defines those short? Because Sam,
It's like
you
30
were
it's like
for sure
30
a movie guy.
Yeah. I'm a self-proclaimed cinephile, I'd say. So like a short film
dork.
usually like, wow. Short film usually lasts like, short film is like 30 minutes, 15 minutes kind of, maybe like in the 40-minute range.
Feature film.
Like a feature-length film is like an hour 20.
Okay, all right. Is that really the main defining
I
characteristic?
think nowadays it has to be an hour 20. That's why like the Adam Sandler movies on Netflix, they're all an hour 20 exactly.
Exactly.
So-
they're just pumping them out.
Comedy Central,
Hey, man, they're pumping them out, making
They're
money.
pumping them
Don't
out.
get me wrong,
baby.
there's stuff that's like an
I love
hour 10,
Sandler.
stuff like that. But like those aren't considered short films. It's really depending on the budget as well. So there was a short film they made called Trailer Park Boys in 1990, and that went to the Atlantic Film Festival. And from that point, they got offers to do one of the future producers of Trailer Park Boys was trying to get up and running, and they wanted to see if they can do a 13 episode limited series.
What about Barry Dunn?
No, not him. Not yet.
Not yet.
Not
Not yet.
No, but so the offer was to do 30 episodes or 13. I keep saying 30. 13 episodes, and they pitched it to the Comedy Network, which is the Canadian version of like the Comedy Central, and they declined. A few years later,
Ouch.
not a few years later, a few months later, Showcase, where it lived for 7 seasons, picked it up, and they sold it to Netflix like in 2012, 2013, something like that, and
They busted
here we are
out.
now. Yeah.
Now, there's definitely a huge difference both in production value, but also just in aesthetic
That's
to
what,
Showcase versus the Netflix.
I
time
feel like, and
period.
that's what set the Showcase apart, especially in the early first couple of seasons. Like,
Oh, yeah.
and back. But
Well, the whole show is loosely scripted.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I figured.
It's done in a very retro story way, and a lot of the lines are just ad lib to the point where like there's even specials on Netflix now you can watch where it's just the guys going up there in character and they just are reacting to things because the show's already so loosely scripted.
Well,
They're literally just their characters.
Isn't often they'll go into interviews and like go to events.
Oh, yeah.
Totally in character.
Totally in character. And
They
they
did-
won't,
did they go,
that is so.
some
I
some
love that.
nighttime talk show, right?
Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy
Yeah.
Kimmel. Yeah,
That's like
I've seen him on Jimmy
that's
Kimmel.
almost that's one of the things about it is they almost have this cartoon aspect to them that makes them like
Yes.
the same look every time.
Yeah.
They act the same. They are just like that.
They
character
are those
entire.
characters. I don't think if I saw like Mike Smith and any other film television show, I would feel like he would be out of place. He is Bubbles. He belongs with those fat ass glasses and that big old underbite.
He used
Talking
to be
about
in a band,
carts and
too.
kitties.
He
yeah.
used to be in a band and like seeing him. What did he do? Did he play guitar?
I think he
Was
played
it-
guitar.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he played
Yeah.
guitar.
Yeah,
quite a
but-
few episodes. And looking at it, the show, although like the first couple of seasons or that first bit, you can tell like there really wasn't a whole lot of production budget, but they were still managed to be able to get members of Rush to get on there.
Yeah.
Well, that was season.
was-
I watched a few episodes before recording this, and that was like season 3.
Yeah, that was
Right?
season 3
That's
or 4.
early.
So
dude.
they had a pretty big like they had a lot of traction at least with the Canadian audience.
Yeah, and that's what. Yeah. But and back to what you're talking about the cardboard because I think that's. I feel like that is like one of my favorite parts about the show is Bubbles and his carts.
Well, especially like in the first season because he seems so out of place
He
with
does.
the
does, dude.
And
He
he,
very much does.
Ray
Takes over
called
the
him the
whole
smartest
PR.
guy in the
Well,
park.
he's kind of like a. I think in it, what he's supposed to symbolize is that sense of innocence they had prior to really like becoming adults and doing crimes.
Well, I get that, yeah, and yeah, there's definitely moments where that dies, like with the bubble machine, the fire and shit. Like they actually tackle that. Because I don't know, I think I agree with that, but like
Yeah.
they're he's definitely just out of place, and like it could be like it just adds to that aesthetic of this like kooky trailer park in fucking Canada, you know?
One of my favorite episodes is the one with when Ricky becomes a mall cop.
Oh my god!
these carts are public domain, Ricky.
One of the most underrated things of Trailer Park Boys are the bottle kids.
The Bottle
my
Kids
God.
are phenomenal.
They set up the bottle kids too.
Yeah.
They do.
You can find the episode where they get like I think it's all raised bottles or something like that.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
Bubbles was in jail.
Yeah.
Right? It was one of those
They
episodes where
filled
Bubbles was
yeah,
in
because
jail.
they filled his whole shed with these bottles.
Ray
He's
filled
like,
him with
I
all
don't
the
know-
liquor bottles.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with all these.
And he sold them to Trinity,
He
yeah.
gets them to the kids. Or he sold to Trinity,
them to
Ricky's
Trinity.
daughter.
And then-
And now through the whole fucking show, they're just tossing bottles at people.
Bottle kids.
No, they got some good setup. Like for a show that's retro scripted and like it's obviously a lot of stuff's added through editing and very retroactive.
Yeah.
They set up a lot of really, really good jokes.
Yeah, like honestly, I think part of it comes from just like think of like all the one-liners from the show.
Oh, yeah.
Think of just
Very
it's
many.
almost infinite how many times you could just sit there and quote something totally ridiculous.
Yeah.
Rickyisms. They have a term for it.
It's one of the biggest parts of the show is Rickyisms and the shitisms.
The shitisms.
The
Oh my
shitisms.
god.
I don't mean to
The
break y'all's
shitstorms.
heart, but so all the shit-isms
Uh-huh.
are written.
I kind
Oh,
of figured
yeah,
that
yeah,
one
yeah.
a little bit.
You
You could tell that one gets a
Because
little bit ongoing.
Because John Dunworth is great because
Yeah.
he's a classically trained actor
Yeah.
who ended up doing this. And if you've seen the show, he does a lot of fucking crazy ass shit.
Yeah.
But he's gone on saying that like he does not stand. Well, before he passed, he went on a Reddit AMA a few years ago, and he does not approve of any of the shit isms or anything like that because he used to teach at a university and specifically
Really?
told his students not to like do toilet humor or things like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then he ended up on Trailer Park
On
Boys,
fucking
which
Trailer
is
Park
kind of the I'd literally
Oh, how
I'd
the
claim
mighty
it-
have fallen, dude.
it'd be the king of toilet humor. And don't get me wrong, the man's great and he fucking kills it.
But can I
But,
ask why is there some out there who are against that sense of like toilet humor?
I don't know. There's like highbrow and lowbrow, and they think they're like one is definitely easier than the other. So like, I guess if you're trained a certain way, it just seems lesser. And like,
know.
I don't know why I don't understand. Don't get me wrong. I definitely don't understand like a discriminatory aspect to like one versus the other. But
Yeah.
like, it's just the way it's always been. You know, there's highbrow and there's lowbrow, slapstick, and then there's written comedy.
All right. So, what are your guys' favorite Rickyisms? Let's go around the room here.
Rickyisms?
Yeah. What's your favorite Rickyism? Because I definitely have a couple.
You want to start, Tom?
I'm trying to think. I don't know the actual episode, but it's one where they're playing space. 'Cause they're playing space. And they're like, where there's I think it's Randy or someone comes up. They're like, we heard there's people out here getting high in the street playing space. He's like, yeah, I'm high right now. You can't fucking arrest me. Of that sort. I'm stoned right now. Dude, the depiction of weed in that show is another thing, dude.
In terms of Rickyism, my favorite and just my favorite quotes from the entire show are usually what they call Corey and Trevor.
Oh my god.
My favorite one of all called them Astronaut Cock and Snoopy the Fuck Dog. That or Gumby and Fuckio.
Gumby and fuck yo.
Some of my favorites are just kind of the offhand things that he like just slides into his normal dialogue. Like he calls salmonella Zasparella.
Sarsaparilla, yeah.
Or in the space episode, Jupiter
It's
Juniper.
Juniper.
Juniper. We're gonna land on Juniper. Hopefully, find some space weed.
No, but there's the one episode where he's trying to take Lucy on the date, and they go to get Chinese food, and he wants sweet and power chicken.
Sweet and power chicken.
Sweet
Power.
Sweet and power chicken.
Sam, do you know if like a lot of those are improvised?
Oh, I believe the majority of them are.
And man, that's incredible.
'Cause
That's
that guy-
incredible.
He
'cause-
calls. There's a couple where he calls smartphones brain phones.
Brain-
Or whenever
The ongoing one, I think he says is book learning.
Yeah.
It's like,
Whenever
I'm
he
trying
goes
your
to-
book learning.
whenever he goes to pick up Trinity, he's going to the elemental school.
elemental school, when he talks about the brain
Elemental
compartments,
school.
the brain compartments and book learning, and I only have my grade 12, fellas.
Yeah.
He sees like some deers in the distance and he calls them deerts.
Decimals. Talking about decals, calling them decimals.
I fucking told us so. Told us so.
A
Fucking
totaso.
totaso.
Fucking a totaso. Ricky definitely, I think more than anybody, he has the ultimate insults for anything. Absolutely just not giving a fuck
Yeah.
about anybody or anything.
Brothers. There's another one. Talking about. I think it was season 7, and it was one of I think it was one of Jacob's friends who had a giant red mohawk. Called him a cockadoodle fucking ketchup chips.
There's a couple. He just has an infinite number where he's just constantly just ripping shit. Does a bear shit on the Pope?
That one was combining the does a bear shit in the woods and is the Pope Catholic?
He calls his documents word papers.
Word papers.
You
One
guys,
man's garbage is another person's good ungarbage.
Instead of fill my shoes, he said fill my feet.
do you guys have any favorite shitisms?
shit-isms.
Yeah.
The
Shit
ones
ropes.
where Bubbles freaks out. He's talking about the shit hawks.
The shit-hawks is fantastic.
I like the shit ropes. You keep trying to cling onto it, but it's just shit.
Or the shit larvas and the shit caterpillars and the shitter flies.
Shitter flies.
Oh god.
Leahy and Ricky are definitely, I think, probably the two define. Well, Julian definitely is one of the main
I think
defining characters.
Julian is the main character. He's supposed to be. at
Julian
least.
is for sure. Written wise, he is the main character, but I feel like
Well, he was. I think as the
Was.
show went on, it's definitely became all of them, if not more Ricky and Bubbles.
I think
situated.
I think
feel like
Ricky
Ricky ended up.
becoming that fan favorite that everyone wants to see him. more.
Julian's the foil. Julian essentially is like the straight man to bounce off all Ricky's fucking crazy ass shit.
Yeah.
Although, honestly, in my opinion, I think the only real villain who ever is in the show, besides George Green, is fucking. I think Julian is almost the villain in a lot of ways.
Leahy.
Leahy,
Cyrus?
Cyrus.
I would say Cyrus and Sam
Fucking
Losco.
caveman.
Sam Losco, I won't give it because he
Caveman.
eventually tries to get clean when he gets the teeth and the Botox.
Dude, he's constantly trying to fucking get clean.
He is, but the thing about like Julian would sell Bubbles and Ricky.
Yeah, I know that. But
That's
like,
a little fucked up, man.
he definitely is not a good guy. He's always trying to get clean. He's always trying to get clean from all the fucking shit.
Yeah.
But he gets roped into it, and he usually ends up selling Ricky and
I don't
Bubbles
think,
out in the process.
I think Julian's the one who ropes them in more
I
than
think-
Ricky and
does.
Bubbles.
Julian
No, I know, but
Think
like,
about
in the-
when he's living in the shipping container and he says he got clean and he's out there lobster fishing. He
He's
stole the
stealing
boat.
lobsters.
He's stealing the lobster crates and he's still shooting them, but he still claims that he's getting clean and doing fine.
Yeah.
Julian, love him. Great character. The ladies' man.
I
kind
think
of a bad
I
guy.
personally think out of like the main characters of the show, out of Julian, Ricky, Bubbles, Leahy, and
That's like the four
yeah,
main, really.
I would say that Julian is probably my least favorite character.
I agree.
Yeah.
Julian,
Even over, like,
I
Randy?
constantly
Even over,
kinda
I love Randy.
Well, yeah.
I love Randy,
Randy
just
is
because
phenomenal.
of like the insults that everybody calls him.
And just
Oh, yeah.
his
They're
greasy
fucking
body
cheese-
is
yeah.
fantastic to look at.
All right, I got an offhand question for you.
Okay,
Who's your favorite side character?
my favorite
In all-
side
in all-
character.
Side
So,
character.
so we're excluding
Okay.
the five we just mentioned: Ricky, Julian, Bubbles, Leahy, and Randy.
Okay,
Gotta be
Side
Ray,
characters.
Ray,
J-Rock.
Ray?
J-Rock.
J-Rock.
Honestly,
is probably-
J-Rock.
Dude, just his character
His
arc
whole archetype.
Oh, yeah.
is
phenomenal.
absolute.
Who's the actor who plays him? He
Oh.
does an incredible job.
I think he ran for like some form of government too after.
He's
Did
out
he?
there.
He's
Yeah.
doing. He's
Yeah, he's. It's crazy to hear him actually speak.
he's in some Canadian sitcom right now.
He was in a
pretty
band as
successful.
well too. I'm pretty sure. No,
He's
I
doing
can't
pretty
lie.
well for himself.
Before I ever actually saw the show, I remember seeing the scene from the episode where he does the concert out front and whatever the Detroit rapper comes.
DVS. Ricky calls him DVD.
What's his name? Detroit
Velvet Smooth. Yeah.
The first thing I ever saw of the show, I didn't know it was a show. I thought it was an actual clip from someone's home. Is where his mom walks in and J-Rock's jerking it to the photo. I was like, oh my gosh, dude, this guy got caught jerking it, dude. It wasn't until I
He's
rewatched
pulling
the
his
show and I was like,
goalie.
oh wow, that was where that's from.
It's Jonathan Torrens, by the way.
Okay.
Jonathan Torres.
Yeah, he's great.
I definitely do think he's definitely up there with the side characters.
I honestly, I'm a big
yeah.
fan of Phil Collins.
Bill Collins.
Philadelphia
You guys want to
Collins.
buy some trout?
What are you looking at my gut for?
He's like, bam,
Come on, son, give me a band.
give me a bam.
Who's
give
your
me a
least
bam.
favorite side character? Out of the first 7 seasons, there's enough
Lucy.
bad characters in the
Wait, the first
Netflix.
7 seasons? Because I was gonna go fucking. It's Dawn.
Yeah.
Dawn and
Oh,
Donna.
I'm
Dawn
not
and Donna.
including the Netflix seasons because there's too many bad characters in those to count.
Well, here's the thing, though. Just to, sorry to digress, but to go back to the best characters,
Yep.
I gotta give a really big shout out to Private Dancer.
Oh,
Private Dancer is like another version of Jim
Yeah,
Leahy
so
that
was-
just gets even better.
Was he was season 8, correct?
He
Yeah,
was right
he
when
was
they came
first,
back
'cause-
on
Yeah.
Netflix.
Because did he take over for Leahy? Or
No.
was,
Leahy was still there,
Leahy-
but he was the one who was like kind of patrolling
That's
everything.
right.
Jim had kind of quote unquote retired, chilled out with
Yeah.
who was it, Barb,
Wasn't he with
Yeah.
and then Private Dancer was out there.
But
Not a drop of liquor can get into this
I
party.
forget what season it was, but underrated side characters is Billy the Goat.
Billy the
Oh,
Goat,
that's
dude.
that's,
Yeah.
that's Netflix stuff.
That's
Yeah,
Netflix.
That's
but-
yeah, okay.
Because that was the motel seasons.
Oh
Motel.
yeah,
Motel.
Ooh,
Motel.
the motel.
Least favorite?
Least favorite.
Damn.
Truthfully,
In those
Um,
early seasons, I don't even know if I don't even
I don't think I hated anyone.
yeah,
I-
early
I was gonna
seasons.
say.
No, but to be honest, one of the worst decisions I think that ever came, but I know it wasn't a decision by the company or the show to make it, was the replacement of Trevor with Jacob.
Oh, dude.
Corey
Yeah.
and
Because
Trevor,
the-
but I know that Corey and Trevor apparently on the show
they were treated like shit,
They
and
were-
they were
they were
paid.
shit.
They were paid minimum
They-
wage
yeah,
for
they were
every season up until they left.
They
did not get
Even
what
with the
they deserved.
movies.
They started as sound guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know like what one thing led to another, and they ended up being on the show. It's
Yeah.
two of the best characters in the entire.
Oh
fucking
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
They make the show.
Yeah, and I think like even like the fact that even Ricky has a scapegoat. Ricky has two scapegoats that he can make fun of, and like
Oh, yeah.
it was
Him
Ricky's-
going up every time. Come on, smokes. Come on now. You too.
Come on, boys.
Give me a smoke
Smokes.
hairdo. Bubbles, you don't even smoke.
No, but I forget what season they left, but they left because after the movie they still didn't get any raises even
Yeah.
before the
That's
movie.
insane.
No, they were
me.
So
they
they
were really
left, and
poorly treated, and I get that.
The
You
guy
know,
who plays Trevor, his name is Michael Jackson.
I didn't know that.
His name is Michael Jackson. No, he didn't come back. I believe they gave Corey a raise.
They did.
And I think his name is actually Corey. I'm not sure.
Corey
Yeah,
Bowles,
Corey
Bowles.
is
Yeah.
it's his real name.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they because
Something
they
like
gave him a raise and he was treated way better, but they were treated like complete shit.
yeah.
Because a lot of like those earlier seasons, they had a very low budget and they worked a lot of hours. Because
Yeah.
You can tell that they worked a lot of hours because
Oh,
there's
yeah.
so much care put into that.
but honestly, like that just added to it.
Absolutely.
Because like
Honestly.
because in the context of the show, there is a film crew following around Ricky and Julian, getting some kind of documentary footage for something. We don't know what. We never know what.
No. It's something that relates back to the original movie.
Well, I
that they
know
had.
because Julian. Because
He had some type of
Julian's character-
psychic reading or
he
psychic
had a psychic
television
reading
thing.
that something bad was going to happen in his life. So in the original movie, he says that not the Trailer Park Boys the movie, but the Trailer Park Boys short. He originally says that he's going to get a film crew to document things because he wants it to be whatever. But that's not canon. That's the thing. Because the shit isn't canon until it's loosely based because they end up in
It said
jail.
that, he wanted his life to be documented after receiving a telephone psychic's prediction that
Yeah.
he would die soon.
Okay.
I never knew that.
Yeah,
I never
didn't
knew
know
why
that.
why they were following him either.
But I thought it was for something because there ain't no way that I don't know. It's just weird. There's never really an actual explanation in the canon of Trailer Park Boys
As to why
As to
they were
why.
truthfully.
because
being
that's only
filmed.
from the shorts.
But we can gather though in the later seasons that some like they're
they
being
definitely
filmed
sold
and
out.
being put out in the American circuit because
oh yeah.
like Jimmy Kimmel
well, yeah.
ends up calling
So
them.
is it just for the show in general? Is the show itself the?
But here's the thing: when Kimmel calls them, though, they already know who they are. Like Kimmel
Yeah.
knows who they are. So I
Yeah,
think
they
in
play
the
that line of breaking the third wall.
like
Yeah.
Like
I guess you could call it. It's like a really meta episode, but obviously
Oh,
we
yeah,
can
I know
gather
it,
from
yeah.
that you know the show they're being shown in America and they are being televised, but it's never officially kind of like stated.
Well, because there's also
That
like
they're
the
being-
spin-off shows where they go through Europe and America. So like, and there's always the tour shows
There's
and
a-
stuff. So what if? So essentially, the show is the show in the show.
yeah.
So like the whole thing,
That,
because the whole thing, so the whole thing's nonfiction
yeah.
essentially,
Yeah.
except for the fact that it is fiction.
yeah.
All right.
What were we talking about?
No, we were getting on to we were trying to discuss who was a side character that we didn't like.
Oh yeah,
if any.
in those first seasons, I don't even know.
Yeah, first seasons. So there's
'Cause
definitely
there's a
the
gang-
first 7, and then there's 8 through 12, and they're almost totally different shows in a way.
Yeah.
Maybe not totally different, but like just the energy and aesthetic of both of them is horribly different.
Hold up, I apologize for going backwards. The best side character is Donnie.
Donnie?
Donnie.
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 Yeah.
Not Don.
Oh, okay.
Not
Donnie.
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 Who's voiced by Mike Smith.
Yes, he's never shown. I think he's shown once in the later seasons, like Netflix stuff.
No,
But his face is blurred.
He's shown a lot in the later seasons,
Yeah,
but they don't
but
ever show his face.
Yeah, his face is blurred, and it's just Mike Smith yelling off camera.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's
just-
where like some of, at least in our little circle, where some of
Yeah.
the most quotable moments from that show come from.
Have another drink, Ray.
Fuck off with the gun!
I can't tell you how many times I've shouted, "Have another drink, Ray," just in so many situations.
God damn it, boys! Knock it off with that fucking erections.
$10 a month for cable.
I paid for a lady, not Corey and Trevor.
I paid for a lady.
Not fucking
Not
Corey.
Corey and Trevor. No, those.
Donnie is definitely probably. When does he first not make
He's-
an appearance, but is
Well,
the
he's-
voice is heard?
It's like season 1 because he's like, what in the fuck?
Yeah. The what in the fuck thing is like an ongoing. Yeah. Donnie, legend.
Legendary character.
So Tom, you've brought this up before, and it's something I definitely want to talk about. Trailer Park Boys. Ed, and Eddie for adults.
Absolutely is adult Ed and Eddie.
It is. Yeah, it
I
virtually
want
is.
you guys
know.
to elaborate on that.
I watching an episode today. It's obvious.
Mhm.
Julian is Eddie.
Yeah.
Bubbles is
Ed.
Ed, double D,
Yeah.
and then Ricky is Ed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what it is.
No.
And I feel like that comes from that similarity comes from essentially the setting. Because you're in this closed bubble of this cul-de-sac, right?
You're in your own
So
ecosystem,
we're
basically.
And Trailer Park Boys is set in its own ecosystem of the trailer park. So
Yeah.
you get that very similar feel, and it doesn't help that the archetypes are literally
They're always trying to make
They're
the
always
scam.
trying to
They're,
scam.
they're
trying
always
to
trying to
get
scam
up
and
the system,
well,
get
not
the
even
money.
just that, but the characters are literally like
Yeah.
grown-up versions of each one.
And
Yeah.
Ed, and Eddie, the first season aired in 1999, or
Yes.
the same time the short came out. Correct. Interesting.
Fun fact that Ed and Eddie's probably my
Yeah.
all-time favorite.
Absolutely.
It's also
Oh,
a
yeah.
Canadian
Cartoon.
television show, which I didn't know until just
yeah,
now.
It's a
yeah.
Canadian
Until
Ed,
it's
television
Canadian.
show?
It's Canadian.
The,
Yep.
I forget
Yep.
the.
No way.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did not know
It's
that
also
at
it's
all.
also one of the last hand-drawn cartoons.
That's true.
to
They're
be
always
put on
twitching in
air.
the background.
Yeah.
I never noticed it
Yeah.
until
It's-
it got
that's-
pointed
Ed and
out.
Eddie also had that similar vibe where there was I can't remember around what season it was, but there was a total change in that when they started going to the middle school
Oh yeah.
in the show.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
Like,
it got more
the animation
crisp.
got changed,
I think it may have gone to computer generated in the middle when they did the revamp.
probably.
Because there was like a year off and they did a revamp where they ended up going to school.
Yeah. That
But
was one, dude.
The
They did-
earlier, it's one of the last cartoons to actually be.
that was one of Cartoon Network's longest running cartoons, and I was also I think they gave that the best ending possible. They gave it a
yeah.
full length movie
That movie was
to end
just
it out,
like
and it was great.
top tier.
And you finally got to see a character that had never been shown before, but always been talked about with Eddie's brother.
Yeah.
I thought that was a fantastic ending, but I digress. But definitely, you can see anyone who's seen either show, or at least has a good concept of. I think Trailer Park Boys is a little bit harder for people to watch if.
Well, I feel like it's just like is one thing that we'll talk about later in the podcast. But they end up after season 12, they switch to doing a cartoon, and I
Yeah.
think that allows
Ah,
them to do
yeah.
crazier and wilder shit.
Agree.
I'm disappointed in the cartoon for Trailer Park Boys though because it's like the Family Guy ripoff
But
animation style.
I have not seen any of the
I-
cartoons.
I
will-
think,
will-
I think most of the
disclaimer.
cartoon kind of came though because of the passing of John Dunsworth.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
they
I
had
think
to
they
do
didn't
something.
they use like
think-
old clips of him talking. Did
I-
he a character in the show?
The first season, I believe they did because
Okay.
I watched the trailer for it and I was interested to see how they did it. But the because 12 came out 12 came out after he had died,
Yeah. Okay.
and that ends with them doing the whole bag of mushrooms and believing they're in cartoons.
Yeah.
But like I'm pretty sure I only ever saw the trailer of the cartoons.
Wait, so season 12 came out after John Dunsworth had already
I
passed?
believe so. I watched the last episode today,
It
and
was-
they end with a memoriam to him.
Yeah, it was recorded
Yeah, I know the memoriam happened.
because he's in season 12.
It's
correct?
Yeah,
If
he
I'm-
is
if
in
I'm not
season 12.
mistaken,
Yeah.
he is.
He is, and he's even in the last scene, and where they even turn it to cartoon. I think the original idea for the cartoon was it's way easier to do,
Yeah.
and they can do wackier and crazier shit.
It might even be cheaper for him to do. Too.
It probably is.
Honestly, yeah.
But then so I want to talk about this because I want to get into something else.
Okay.
Can anything compare to what Trailer Park Boys has been? Because if you think about it, it's had the TV show, it's
Multiple
had
movies.
3 movies. It's got a cartoon now that's spanning, I think, 2 seasons where they're working on a third.
Yeah.
It has a
Podcast.
podcast.
And
they have
YouTube scene is big.
merchandising. Like they have not just like
Yes.
T-shirts, clothes,
They
and
have
stuff.
board games.
They have board games. They have their own paraphernalia.
They have
of,
their
like,
mobile
Halloween and
game.
shit.
The Trailer
They have
Park
their
Boys
mobile game. They have
multiple live
everything.
tours where
Yeah.
multiple characters from the show are touring in this tour as well.
Fucking
And
Pat Roach, the guy who plays
Yes.
Randy, went on his own cheeseburger
Yes,
tour where
and-
he went
and it
to
was
India.
popular.
He
too.
sold cheeseburgers for like $20 fucking and people were buying them.
I would buy a fucking
I would.
cheeseburger from
I'd-
Randy
I'd
for
buy a
$20.
cheeseburger
I'd buy a
from Randy.
I can't
cheeseburger
lie,
from
I
Randy
would
for
too.
$40.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I'd buy a cheeseburger from him. I'd buy weed from Ricky, dude.
yeah.
That fucking mall, the mall weed.
Buy some
$12
of
a
that
gram.
driveway hash.
Oh my God. That's probably
Driveway
one of the
hash.
best seasons. in my
What? Okay,
opinion.
so I was gonna ask, what are your guys' favorite schemes that they come up with to make money?
Me and Justin were talking about this the other day, back from when we were heading back from the bees.
Yeah.
There was
Shout out to Applebee's.
shout out to Applebee's.
Applebee's.
Dollaritas.
If there's anyone we're looking for a sponsor for,
It's gonna be
it is
Applebee's.
Please,
We go-
Applebee's.
we go-
We are
feeling good in the neighborhood.
dedicated warriors for the Applebee's Foundation.
Tom, do
Go
you remember
hard.
the local store number? I forgot it.
Oh,
Oh.
160, 165, 160.
I've got it posted on the Instagram. If
Oh,
you'd
well-
like to follow us or our Applebee's review Instagram, you can find us at MB Applebee's Reviews on Instagram.
No, but my favorite season might be season 5, because that's the first episode where Leahy gets into the liquor. That's the I Am the Liquor season, and
That's
it's the hash driveway.
It's the
where they
hash-
steal.
okay,
they
yeah.
steal all the hash from the brothers and Cyrus after breaking out from jail and stealing their car. Then they.
Julian drives that car for like the
He
rest
does.
of the series.
I think it's
too.
well, I think the craziest part about that is number one that they reintroduced Cyrus to the mix.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
when I first watched it through, and Cyrus was the first episode. That was the.
Oh yeah, and that was kind of he pops in and out like
Yeah.
Ricky draws shit on his car and shit like that.
Well, that
But,
was
like,
all. That was
like-
all season. That was all season 5.
Oh,
He had-
But
yeah.
season 1 though, that first episode, it's kind of played up that Cyrus is going to be like the villain.
And
Oh,
he
yeah.
he was never shown again until season 5, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, and when
I'll fact check. I'll fact check.
yeah, for sure. But when I'll never forget when seeing him pull up to what are the Dennis and
Asian bird.
Jeremy.
no
Where's
Dennis
the J?
Dennis and what's the dude's name?
I can't think of the other one's
I
name.
just call them the twins.
The twins, the Asian
yeah.
twins
They got
with the
the
robes on.
grandma.
Yeah, the grandma.
Don't you point that gun at my grandma?
and they're talking about our dude's gonna be here. He's gonna be pissed. There's a fucking limo out in the driveway. What the fuck? And then they pull up and it's Cyrus and he's like, "What the fuck is this limo doing here?"
Fuck off! I got work to do.
Safety always
Always
off.
off.
My dad told me he was proud of me once. Fucking prick.
My dad gave me this gun. Fucking prick. Safety. Always off.
Cyrus does take he takes a big leave because what season is it that he comes back? in?
He's in an episode in 2 and then 4 and then he's not back for more than 1 episode per season
Until
until 5.
What
and then
episodes
he's in majority in 8 and 9 as well.
What episodes was he in
He's in the
season
first
2 and 4?
episode, which is take your little gun and get out of my trailer.
Yeah.
Then he's in the Blair Pimp Project.
Oh,
in
the
season
my
2.
God.
Then he's in Rubs and Tugs. Rubs and Tizugs.
Like that's the one with when Donnie yells, "I paid for a lady, not fucking Corey and Trevor."
That's J-Rock's sex house, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Robin Tizug.
Yeah, that's season 4, and then he's back in 5 as the leader of the main antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
No, but he I love his character. I think he's great. But he's just,
Cyrus?
Yeah, he's just a great
He's a
A prick.
dick.
Just
Yeah.
a heavy metal dick.
I can't lie.
metal dick.
Sam, what's Sam's last name in the show?
Moscow.
Sam Loskow is another one. The caveman.
The caveman.
They,
He's-
when
'cause
they
he's a vet-
eventually
he's a
find
veterinarian, isn't he?
him, he is,
Yeah.
and they go to him. He was fine until Julian and Ricky and them go to him and like, we need you to fix us.
This is like, have you guys watched It's Always Sunny?
Yeah.
It's a very Rickety Cricket situation.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
When you at
He
the
starts as a
laser-
Rickety Cricket in It's Always Sunny. He starts as a priest, and he ends up a
Homeless.
scarred
Yeah.
homeless crack, a scarred homeless drug dealer and addict.
and like
Just
seeing-
from reuniting with these people and talking to them.
and seeing
And Loskow goes through a very similar situation.
he actually lives in a cave.
He actually lives in a
Dude,
cave.
I think one of the best moments is when
He still has
when
his toupee though.
he comes back and he's holding Philadelphia Collins hostage, and Barb shows up and they leave together, and he's like,
That's 5.
He
That's
says,
season
Yeah.
5.
He's sitting
Yeah.
there. He's like, "Caveman always wins, baby." That's
Because
one
they
of the-
take
that's one of the best
the
quotes.
taxi over to the trailer park, and Sam Loskow's driving. It. Like, someone give me my fare. Or don't blow this.
I thought that was
greasy
Phil
mustache
Collins.
tiger. Well,
But
they shoot Phil. He takes Phil hostage.
Oh, that's right. Wait,
No, because they call for the pizzas. They call for the pizzas or something.
Yeah.
And no,
It was
it's
so
to
Phil
pave.
Collins.
It's to
They
pave
paved
the
the
driveway.
park when
It's to pave the park.
Ricky and Ray were hanging out at the dump. Because
Yeah,
that's when
yeah.
Ray was living at the dump.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
With the dump
With the
bees.
pea jugs, they're just flinging them
Because that's with the Dirty Burger.
Oh,
That's
Dirty
season
Burger?
7. Dirty
Yeah,
Burger
season-
season 7.
No,
yeah,
it's not.
Dirty Burger is later. It's like
Is it
It's a
6,
lot.
7? That's like
5.
6.
Dirty Burger. We
6
gotta
or
find
7.
that
I
out.
don't
pretty
think
sure.
I'm not saying that Loskow part's in 5. It's not in 5. I know it's with the Dirty Burger because Randy and Phil were doing the Dirty Burger stuff.
Yeah, because Randy's gonna jump the cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And just
That's when he's with Lucy, and that's one of the
Yeah.
things is that a couple of times in the show they kind of just throw in these things and then totally get rid of them.
there's a
Because
lot of
remember,
plot
Lucy
holes
and
unanswered.
Randy were gonna have a baby,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
and then
I-
it's like just don't like it's just real passively mentioned. Just we put him up for adoption or sent him
They
towards
sent him
them.
to his grandma or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
Without-
did.
Yeah.
He said he didn't want him growing up in the trailer park or live. He wanted him to have a better life.
That'd be
There's like a
fun.
few plot holes in the park.
Just bring him back.
yeah.
Randy's
Her-
child.
Leahy's daughter.
Randy's
Leahy's daughter. True. What's her name?
Trinity?
Trina.
No,
She was
Trina.
played by the
Ellen Page,
Ellen
which
Page.
was her
Page.
first role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insane.
You know, I didn't know that the girl who plays Trinity as a kid
Yeah.
is the same one that plays her
As
in
an-
the,
Oh,
in
yeah.
the older seasons.
She
too.
literally has aged with the show.
That's insane,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
I love it.
So going back, does anything compare to Trailer Park Boys?
Nothing compares to Trailer Park Boys right now, at least.
Yeah.
I think.
Not even like
I
because
gotta
like the
really
only
think,
thing I
'cause,
could even
like-
think that boils up to the magnitude of that is like The Simpsons, maybe.
Well,
Maybe like
Yeah,
Friday
but
Night
the
Lights with the
Simpsons,
level
though,
of like
The
movies
Simpsons
and
doesn't have a
TV.
podcast. Like they had a movie.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you could do a I don't know what they're doing now. Have you seen? Y'all got Disney Plus at all?
I do.
No.
Yes.
They're doing like
I
a.
hate Disney.
They're doing like a. Oh yeah, same.
That's gonna
well,
get us
actually no,
canceled.
I don't.
We're gonna
hate
get
it.
taken off of YouTube. for that one.
Dude, we're trying to get a sponsorship here, Tom.
I'm trying to get a
Don't-
sponsor
don't-
from Applebee's.
don't get me wrong. I hate Disney, but I've accepted our new mouse overlord
Yes.
of all of media and
All
all
hail
of creation
Mickey.
and
Yeah.
dawn and the dawn of time and everything. All hail our new mouse overlord.
Yes.
But like, I don't think any. Well, they're doing like a bunch of like Maggie spin-offs on there.
Oh, jeez.
I think it's only a matter of time. Now that Disney has them, they're gonna get plugged for everything it's worth. But Simpsons has books, comics, TV show. They have a movie, and they have a mobile game as well.
Here's the thing, though, with The Simpsons, it's been going for how many years
Oh,
now?
too many years.
Fuck.
well, I
Too many
know,
years,
but it's
too many
gone.
years.
It's gone.
But
from
the
a
Trailer
point-
Park Boys, like, here's the thing. There's that we know that the golden time of Trailer Park Boys was seasons 1 through 7.
Yes.
That
the,
is
the
definitively
showcase seasons.
best time for it. Then Netflix picked it up and it was like, all right, cool, we get to see it again, but it just wasn't the same. I don't think they'll ever be able to capture that magic that was in those first 7 seasons. And the thing is, they will never be able to like kind of build from that. It kind of had its peak, and people are still kind of discovering it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it's going to hold out. Like Simpsons has been around
Well,
almost
yeah.
30 years.
What do you
now.
think in
So
terms
you don't
of, like-
think you don't think that Trailer Park Boys just jumped the shark? Because we've talked about it. That well, I don't know if have you all seen all the specials?
I haven't
not
seen
just
all the specials,
not even
no.
the specials that are Netflix originated. The like movies and the specials released under Showcase.
That's how I first saw Trailer Park Boys. Was like the first movie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I
And
didn't
I
know that.
watched
Yeah.
this.
Okay.
No, but like on top of that, like we were talking about how we've not watched the animated series, and that's what they're doing now. The actual show, Trailer Park Boys, is done. They're continuing through the animated series.
Yeah.
I heard they were making it. I heard they were making another one recently.
Really?
Yes. What
it's
would it be? It would
interesting.
be season 14, right?
13.
13.
Because they don't
Damn,
count the
dude.
animated series. It stopped at 12 and it hasn't been done since, what, 2018? 2 years? A 2-year hiatus?
To answer that question on if any other show has done what Trailer Park Boys, you really have to think: are there any other shows that have those characters that really just resonate with?
I mean, like, it's...
I can't
really
lie, dude.
like-
The Office, another mockumentary.
Yeah.
Each individual character is
I
so
really-
defining and so particular that like you can find these like think about like you have people like Creed who's just kind of out there, wild, just totally off the wall, or Kevin who has a particular idiot, like just an idiot quality to him, or Jim who's actually intelligent. That one kind of has those characters to it,
Yeah.
but it's just not to the same
I don't think they're-
outlandish
I don't
level
think
of
they're
Trailer
as
Park
strong
Boys.
either.
They're not
I
just
think-
because they don't really like live that character. In a sense,
I think
'cause
another defining thing on it is that, and I'll, this, I don't like to think that drugs are like are a thing that make you cool, but
They're definitely a factor in the show
Ricky-
for sure.
what is it? What's his last name? LaFleur?
The floor.
In the
Yes.
show?
So, Ricky,
Yes.
they don't have last names officially.
It's a.
But they call him Ricky LaFleur,
Yeah.
though.
His last name is technically LaFleur.
Ricky LaFleur is in that level of Snoop Dogg, Cheech and Chong.
Yeah.
Where
and
he's just a drug icon.
He is a
He is a marijuana
weed
icon.
icon.
Yes, I agree with that. I
you know,
agree. I think
people
the
we
show
know
is.
have marijuana bowls shaped in Ricky LaFleur's face.
They are definitely not sitting here in this room right
For
now.
sure.
Absolutely.
And think about that
And it's
level. Who are some other people who would have a face on a bowl?
fucking Rick from Rick and Morty. What do you mean?
Rick and Morty. All right. Well, all right. That's a totally different
Well, I
thing.
think
'Cause that's
that's
a different fandom.
It is.
But-
yeah, that's for a completely different reason.
Yeah, that is for a totally different
Yeah,
reason. But,
but-
like, just the drug icon level is
Yeah.
insane for these guys because everyone knows him. Dude, Ricky, is the weed dude.
He's the weed guy.
always
Yeah,
stoned.
absolutely.
And
he
on
is.
their YouTube stuff, they're doing like they did this series where they were just Ricky would make a bong in character out of just random items.
Yeah, they have a bunch of like I feel like they've definitely taken to a lot of the outlets that
Their
Media
YouTube
has
presence.
offered.
They've
is
taken their
strong.
characters and really embraced them.
yeah,
They've
'cause-
milked every little last dollar they can out
yeah,
of them.
that's what like going back to like with like what Michael Jackson and Corey and Trevor
Yeah.
why they left the show, like the producers are like were scrounging for fucking money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they literally do everything. And like I feel like that's as negative as that is for like the people who are experiencing it, I feel like that's kind of what made the show what it is.
Yep.
Because
Because
it's
it
really
feels
any
it
kind of
feels
outlet.
thrown together.
It
Well,
feels,
it feels authentic because, like,
Yeah.
essentially, if you think about it, Julian's kind of the one running all this shit.
yeah.
Because, like, I've watched a few of the live specials on Netflix, and it's like Julian's like, all right, we need to get as much money as we can from this shit. All right, let's
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, like I mean, it fits, like it works.
Absolutely.
And they even made a movie about their brand, SwearNet.
Yeah, they made a swear net.
Have you
movie.
guys seen that?
Yeah,
have not seen
They,
the
they
SwearNet
got
movie.
Guinness Book of World Records for most fucks.
Yeah, it's okay. It's fun.
It is. They do like a whole. It's like it leads up to them doing a rally road race or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's pretty fun. It's
Yeah.
a fun little movie. It's got Pat Roach in a costume, I think, or something like that.
That's
For SwearNet.
No, that's
Indianapolis
that,
Jones.
no, yeah, that's Indianapolis
Indianapolis
Jones.
Jones.
I'm getting confused. He does something stupid.
what is
Something
he
with,
called?
I think he like I don't know. I don't even want to get it. But like, no, yeah, it's some crazy shit.
They've definitely done as much as they can with their brand, and I cannot think of a show that has capitalized what they have made.
What do you think in terms of like cult status? I feel like it's a cult TV show. I feel like it has
Oh,
a cult
Yeah,
following.
100% is a cult
Um,
TV show.
So what do you think compares to it in terms of that? Like I feel like maybe Always Sunny, but Always Sunny is like
Yeah.
mainstream.
Always Sunny is a
Kinda.
I don't think Always Sunny is even mainstream at this
Maybe
point.
It's
'Cause,
not
like,
necessarily, but it's
it's
closer than to mainstream than Trailer Park
I feel
Boys.
like Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Well, I don't know, cause like, well, I don't even.
I could kind of see Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I
a
get
bit.
Curb. Curb is probably about it. You know, like I don't think it's taken off as much as
Yeah.
this, and it might just be because the restraint of the people working on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Like because the producers of Trailer Park Boys are in a way different spot than the producers of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, also,
You
like,
know?
look at like the subject matter of each show.
Yeah.
Like this, like Trailer Park Boys it's literally all about breaking the law. The entire show
Yeah.
is about breaking the law, selling drugs, and cheating and stuff like that.
Fucking drinking enough liquor to kill
and
man.
just destroying your
Drinking
body.
liquor
through
and eating
substance.
chicken
and
fingers.
eating burgers.
Yeah.
Fucking
Burgers.
greasy cheeseburger. A man's got to
Frig,
eat.
Mr. Lady.
A man's got to eat.
No, so do we you want to go into some weird facts?
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's hear
anyway,
some
then.
weird facts about Troy. So Sam has prepared some weird
I
facts
got
about
some weird facts.
Weird facts with Sam.
Weird facts.
So Tom mentioned Barry Dunn earlier.
Okay.
That is, he is one of the producers of the show.
Yes.
He's also the man who plays Ray.
Oh, he's
Really?
That's
Yes.
very done. I'll be
What the
damned.
There are a lot of behind the scenes footage
Yeah.
where they're cracking jokes because he's the producer and he's just sitting in a chair the whole time. He's like, yeah, whatever. It's a
Way
fun
of the
little
road,
show.
baby.
That's the way of the
It's
road.
the way she goes.
Way she goes.
That's another thing is like when you have the producers and shit acting in on the show.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
just-
yeah.
it builds a rapport.
Well, like, just like, I didn't even know, I think Justin said this earlier. Corey and Trevor were sound guys.
They were
I
sound
didn't
guys.
know that, man.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I just remember hearing something about Mike Smith thought they would look funny or something, and he
Well, they
started
do.
calling them, and he started fucking roasting them, and they
I
decided
think
to
you're
end
right,
up in the
'cause
show.
Are they
I
in the
think that's
first
how it
episode?
happened.
Yeah.
'Cause I
I
think-
don't know. I don't know off the top of my head.
I think they're in the, because in the first episode.
They're in the first. At least I know for a fact they're early on in the first season.
Well, yeah.
At least, if
but
not
I thought
the
the
first
first,
episode.
because in the first episode they raid that barn and one of them gets shot. One of the camera guys or someone gets shot, remember?
Oof.
Right?
I think you might be
Or
a little bit off.
it's in the first
It's in the first season for sure. I can.
I don't know. It's not important. It's not
Yeah.
important.
Well,
We'll come back
really, they just play a jail cover role for the most part.
yeah, for sure.
One of my other facts was we talked about it earlier. John Dunworth is a classically trained actor, taught at a university. Well, not taught. He was taught himself at a university. Then he went on to teach at a university.
Yes.
So yeah, he's classically trained, which is interesting, especially seeing what he does now, and, it probably helps with that. Honestly.
Oh yeah, because he's the best drunk. Like
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
He's
the
by
most convincing drunk.
he's the most
Absolutely.
convincing drunk I've ever seen on
Yeah,
television.
on film. Honestly, for me.
thing
Then-
with John is he also he had a hobby in concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He made
And
statues.
there's a video floating
Yeah,
around on YouTube of that little interview that he did and showing like he it's really it's just him
It's
really
really
down to
humbling.
earth. And he says that I want to leave a legacy for my kids and I want to leave something for them. What's better than fucking something in stone and concrete?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's his little hobby.
Speaking of his children,
Was his little hobby.
Sarah, one of the leading ladies of the show,
Yep.
is his daughter.
Yeah, I knew that one.
Yeah,
I knew that one.
yeah.
There's her name
Sarah's
in real
probably
life, I
one of
believe.
the
It's
only
Sarah Dunsworth.
sane people through the entire show.
Yeah.
Even that, bro. I think
Yeah.
she's
What are you gonna
well,
think she's what? You
She
think
goes-
she's hot?
She goes
yes. I would-
earlier,
Hotter than
earlier
Lucy,
season.
yeah.
Hotter, way hotter
Yeah.
than Lucy.
Lucy, I
Lucy's
hate.
just-
I don't like
hated
Lucy.
Lucy's
Yeah.
like just trash.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she is
Hard
she is the
trash.
definition
No
of
offense to
trailer
the
park.
actress, just that depiction of that character is
No,
terrible.
she goes crazy in the Netflix stuff because she joins like Barb's lesbian cult.
Yes, which was
Yeah.
the worst.
The worst decision.
Oh my, yeah, that was horrible.
There was
Horrible.
there were funny moments because as much I literally talking about worst characters of the show. I hate Dawn and Donna from the Netflix show, but it's really because I just hate what they do. The
Yes.
performances are great.
Oh yeah.
I just hate what they do.
They
It pisses me
abuse
off.
our hero Jim
Yeah.
Leahy.
Yeah, which is just not necessary.
No.
Speaking, it might not be a good track to go on to Lucy, but so do y'all? We briefly talked about this before we started recording. Y'all know about Mike Smith's abuse allegations?
Yes, I've
remember
heard
seeing
about
the
them.
tweets.
I
Little
don't.
bit,
I
yeah.
remember seeing the tweets. I
Yeah.
don't think I.
So I didn't get a year on this, and
Okay.
I regret doing that. But a while back, Mike Smith had abuse allegations. There was a woman screaming in a local motel, and a witness went into the room to find Mike Smith pinning this girl to the ground via the throat.
Oh.
So this apparently is why Lucy left the show in later seasons,
Yeah.
being a victim
That's-
of abuse in general, but also Justin, I believe You were Ryan. You were talking about how she was abused by Mike.
I did not know the specifics about it.
Yeah.
I just remember.
Well, I'm sure
hearing
they're
that
kept tight.
Abuse is why Lucy left, and I know that Mike Smith has been accused of it.
Yes.
So I just
Yeah.
put 2 and 2 together.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure.
All right. I'm not 100%,
That's kinda,
but I know.
It's
I
so
know.
odd to think of someone like Mike Smith who plays such like he plays like that really innocent kind of
At
bubble
first,
role.
innocent.
He also
Well,
plays Donnie.
Yes.
True, he does play Donnie.
Yes.
But
Oof. Yeah, that's tough. And like, obviously, we don't know the history behind all that, and it's hard, because I don't, I hate supporting an abuser. Obviously, I don't
Yeah.
want
True.
if that actually did happen, it would kind of ruin a
I'll
lot
put
of
it in the
things
sense
for
of,
me.
I love the character that he
Yes.
plays. The character that he plays is
Yeah.
absolutely terrific, and I love hilarious. But if that is how he chooses to be as a human being in real life, not as and as his genuine person, I can't support that.
he is
Well, yeah, of course.
canceled.
Just with a couple other. You got any more random facts to close us out here, Sam?
No, I don't.
Okay.
All right.
Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first episode of the Mud Pit.
Well, we're not done yet. We gotta. So, Tom, you want to tell them about the perp of the week?
Oh,
true that.
Perp
Shit.
of the week. Tom, did you
Perp?
come
Okay,
up with a
I'll-
perp of the week?
I think I actually prepared.
Did you
perp
not
of the week
prepare
for this week?
Okay. Well, let's think of one on the spot. Who's
Well, hold
hold
on,
on. Let's
wait.
talk
Wait,
about it.
I can immediately
Okay.
tell you who can be the first perp of the week.
Okay.
So
fuck
to
be
introduce
perping?
this, the perp, for anyone who doesn't understand, a perp is someone who in general just doesn't get it.
Yes.
Someone out there acting a fool, acting crazy, ruining the vibe,
Won't
and
read-
ruining
can't-
the time.
Can't read the room.
Can't read the room. Someone just making it worse
Yes.
in general.
Being
Perping.
too
We're going to put our
extra.
first perp out there. The one who we rate them on a thing we call the Weston Perpometer. Rating from, are they seriously perping or are they just perping a
They
little
just
bit?
little perping.
Little perping. And for the namesake, I got to give the first perp of the week to Brian Weston as the definitive perp of the week.
On a scale from 1 to 10 on the Western Perpometer.
Oh, he's
Perpometer.
perping hard as fuck,
So
dude.
is he 10? He's a solid
He is
10?
a 10. He's a
Big
solid
10.
10.
10 on the
lives
Western
the- he
Perpometer?
lives the- he leaves a legacy of a 10. I
Leaves
wouldn't
a
say
legacy
maybe
of
maybe
a
right
10.
now. I don't think any of us have heard from Brian in a long time.
No.
God bless you if you're out
God
there.
bless
If
you,
you
Brian.
listen to
We
this,
love you,
and
but
we
you're a
love you,
perp.
but you're a
You are
fucking perp.
absolute perp.
You're a good guy, but you're a fucking perp, dude.
That's our perp of the week here.
That's the
That's the
perp.
perp of the week.
First
Weston
perp of the week.
Perpometer meter.
The Weston
Perpometer meter.
Weston Perpometer.
Perpometer.
Perpometer meter.
Perpin.
Perpometer?
Perpometer scale?
Perpometer
I like
meter.
the perpometer or
Perpometer. I like
Perpometer.
perpometer.
Perpometer meter.
We discussed this like a week ago.
We did.
So.
I
This
can't
whole thing
remember
came
what
up
happened
about
a week
ago,
ago.
to be
bro. This is
All
the
right.
love child of a 2 a.m. Discord conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As,
I was not a part of.
as a lot
I woke up with a link to Hostos for Hire, and then someone added me to a chat. So-
as a lot of our ideas come from, it's a 2 a.m. Discord chat. I think this one has been pretty successful, boys.
I
Yeah.
think so.
See how time goes.
I'm sure I learned a lot about Trailer Park Boys, my favorite show of all time that I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Got some new info.
So we'll be back hopefully next week,
Next
and
week.
we'll
if
hit
not
you
the
with.
week after, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll
Well,
listen out for
we're
us.
talking about next week. We're talking about the
American malls.
the
death?
great the rise and death of the Great American Mall.